So, what are the different ways in which banks lend money? Banks can engage in bilateral lending, consortium lending, and syndicated loans. Let me tell you a little more about them. A bilateral lending is an arrangement where a single bank lends to a borrower. That means it involves two parties: the lender, that is the bank, and the borrower. A borrower can have bilateral lending arrangement with various banks at a time. Here, the loan structure is not very complex and the loan terms can be clearly and easily set forth by the parties. Consortium lending involves consortium of banks, that is, a group of banks. There are times when a single banker may not be able to fully finance a borrower. In such a situation, more than one bank come together. They form a consortium and jointly grant credit facilities to a borrower. Such type of lending is called as consortium lending. In this type of arrangement, the member banks identify a bank as the lead banker of the consortium. As the term suggests, a lead bank is the leader of the group. The main functions of a lead bank are arranging meetings between the member banks, active involvement in credit appraisal of the borrower, playing an important role in finalizing the transaction documents, ensuring that security is duly created and perfected, and monitoring the account of the borrower. The next way that banks can lend money is through syndicated loans or a syndication arrangement. In a syndicated loan, a borrower borrows money from a group of lenders known as a syndicate. Now, this arrangement is different from consortium lending. Consortium lending is generally preferred for domestic transactions. On the other hand, for international transactions, the lenders go for syndication arrangement. Like consortium lending, syndication is also preferred in cases where borrowers require larger sums. But here, the risks involved are too high as compared to consortium funding. The syndication lending structure is very complex. Often, such transactions involve multiple jurisdictions, different currencies, and different kinds of security. This arrangement simplifies a complex borrowing process. Instead of entering into separate bilateral agreements, a borrower uses one agreement covering a group of lenders. Several banks act together and each provides a proportion of the loan on a several basis. That means, if one bank drops out of the syndicate for any reason, the others are under no obligation to increase their shares of the loan to cover the lost amount. In this type of lending, the borrower appoints a lender as an arranger of the deal. The arranger facilitates the transaction. It approaches other lenders to participate in the facility. It also negotiates the terms of the loans. Usually, such arranger is also a participant in the syndicate. The arranger is not necessarily a lead bank. Any of the participating banks may act as lead. Other than the arranger, one bank from the syndicate is appointed as the agent of the lenders. Its main role is to administer the loan on daily basis. Further, in such transactions, a security trustee is appointed. The security is created in its favor for and on behalf of the syndicate members. A syndicated arrangement is either on underwritten basis or best effort basis. In an underwritten deal, the arranger guarantees the entire commitment and then syndicates the loan. That means, if the loan is not fully subscribed by other lenders, the arranger lends that underwritten amount to the borrower. The best effort deal is not underwritten by the arranger. Arranger commits a certain amount of the loan and undertakes to do its best to find other lenders to provide commitments for the remainder amount. However, it does not guarantee the same. The borrower therefore bears the risk that it might not receive sufficient funds.